What is going on YouTube? Team Gorilla here. I'm your host Henry Rico, and I gotta say to all my wonderful fuckers in the world, this is just miss you, love you, love you. Now, if you guys don't know, this video is King of the Ring. Now, in this video, the first thing I gotta say is King of the Ring basically is all about top 5 grade 3s, top 5 grade 2s, top 5 G guards, top 5 Stratuses, or etc. etc. And before I say anything, please note this video is based on opinions. This video isn't based on actual facts or logics or information that's online. This video is based on opinions of players, of my locals, every other players that I've talked to online, and of course my opinions as well. So I could be wrong, I could be right, but the only way that you guys can prove that I'm wrong is to comment down below and we can discuss about it. So if you guys already don't know, it's going to be top 5 legions. If you guys don't know what legion is basically a grade 3 activate legion, send back 4 cards, search for a grade 2, and put it in the Vanguard circle right next to your Vanguard, right next to your grade 3. So we actually had a legion format back then. Legion format was before the Stride format. And Legion format, a lot of people actually quit Vanguard. People didn't like Legion format, they actually left it for a while, but then came back during the Stride format. Yes, that's how old I am, if you guys don't know. I think it's been what, like 4 or 5 years since Legion format? No, it's like 4 or 3 years actually. And yeah, back then everything was ruled by legions. Legions were doing everything. This video is based on opinions on legions back then and certain legions as of right now, if they're being used. Let's get straight to it because I don't want to bore you guys that much. Number 5 is the Bermuda Triangle Legion. This legion basically does is it gains power for each card that bounces back to hand. Nowadays Bermuda Triangle has multiple cards, especially Harmony, that can bounce back cards easily to her hand, and she would gain power. So if you're in Legion and your opponent's at 5 damage, and if you're playing the correct build for Bermuda Triangles, you can bounce back a shit ton of cards back to your hand, and this card will gain an enormous amount of power. Her mate's actually decent. It's not that great, but it's decent. And yeah, that one's number 5, but I've been kind of like iffy about it because there's another card which I think should be number 5. The other card that I think should have been number 5 was Metal Board. This card was broken back then. This card was actually our first guard restrict that we've ever gotten. Back then it would be Ride Die Kaiser next turn, Break Ride, Legion. You have the guard restrict and the guard break. And if your opponent's at 5 damage, they have to guard with a shit ton of grade 0s. Back then, we didn't have G guards, so it's kind of more difficult back then. Nowadays, you're probably not going to see this card anymore unless metal boards get better support. But back in the days, this card was infinitely broken just for the fact that it was the first guard restrict. So yeah. So if you guys can, please comment down below. Let me know what you guys think should be number 5, the Bermuda Triangle Legion or the Metal Board Legion. I honestly think this should be number 5, but this card just comes up more. Like, this card you can actually play now. You can play this card more now than this one. That's why I think this one's number 5. But I could be wrong. So I'm going to just put these two here. Then for number 4 we have Phantom Blaster Abyss. Now this legion was one of the most consistent legions that we've gotten. Back then this card was broken, and this card was still broken until G set 9. Back then, Shadows, all they used was literally the Phantom Legion. Every Shadow player would always play his Legion. Now that we have Lured, now that Lured actually has broken support, no, you don't see this card in play anymore at all. This card is dead. In the current format. Maybe it might come back, I don't know. But back then, like I said, it was one of the most consistent restanding Vanguards that we've gotten. Basically, its effect is the turn that you Legion, after it attacks, counterblast 2, retire 3, restanding Vanguard, and attack again. So it's broken for the fact that it restands. It's broken again for the fact that you could stack the triggers on it while it attacks again, and it's also broken for the fact that it doesn't lose any drive checks. But like I said, mainly for the fact that this card was one of the most consistent restanding Vanguards that we had back then, and it was pretty expensive. Number 3 we have the Story Lifetime Book Soul Thing Saver Dragon. Now this card, if you guys don't know, this card was actually legitimately broken back then. Back then in Japan, they played a deck. I'm sorry. Actually, first just to say, back then Bushiroad allowed Royal Paladins to mix in with Shadow Paladins. And back then, when they did that, Shadow Paladins... And back then, Shadow Paladins, I think you could put any amount of cards in Royal Paladins. So there was one deck of these two legions. So consistently every turn you can legion, resend every turn. His base effect is basically, I think you have to have a certain amount of cards in the Soul Blast them, Counter Blast 2, search for another grade 3 right on top of this, perform Legion again, and it attacks. So you don't necessarily lose any twin drives or anything like that. You don't lose any dry checks. Unfortunately, you cannot stack the triggers because you're riding a brand new grade 3 on top of the grade 3. So that was kind of the downfall of this Legion, of this Resetting Legion. The downfall of this Resetting Legion was if you had no more grade 3s in the deck, you're screwed. You can't triple restand in one turn. I think at one point you could quadruple restand with this card. I don't really remember that much, but if you guys know about it, please comment down below if you could restand this Vanguard 4 times in one turn. I honestly forgot, but I've definitely seen this card restand 3 times one turn. Really good, really good. But hey, I'm sorry guys, that was my puppy. He's being really aggressive today. But yeah, this card was a story because it had multiple. You could play this deck and you could play this card in multiple decks and different builds. But like I said, the best build out there was mixing Thing Saver with Phantom Blaster. That was the best deck ever. But Bushiroad immediately limited it when Japan was abusing the deck really well. So we actually didn't get a chance to play that build, but this card was still great on its own. Still playable now. And yeah. It was a broken Resetting Vanguard. Now for number 2, we have one of the most absolute best Resetting Vanguards. Basically, this card is when it attacks your opponent's rear guard, counter less 1, I think it discard 2, and restand. You can only activate this once per turn. So if your opponent has a rear guard, the first thing he would do is attack your rear guard, drop check, crit power Vanguard, restand, attack your Vanguard again. Now it's going to be, I think, 25, 30 for crit. So this card was absolutely terrifying. Just for the fact that the main reason why people use this card was to deck them their deck, and also hit a bunch of triggers and stack on the Vanguard. Broken. But this card is still amazing, just for the fact that, like I said, every turn you could restand your Vanguard. Actually, back then, if you play this card in the deck sometimes would deck out if you don't know how to control it. A lot of Kagura players decked out playing this card, just for the fact that they would do it too much, and they wouldn't hit the triggers that they needed at the time. Happened to me too, by the way. But out of all three Resetting Vanguards during the Legion format, this one was the most consistent one, because this card you can actually get off every single time, no matter what. You can get off every turn with it, no matter what. So that's why this one outbeats this one, because you can only Legion once. You can only restand once to turn your Legion, and this card can only restand, well, technically restand, if you have all the grade 3s in the deck, and if you have a certain number of cards in the Soul. But this card, like I said, all you need is for your opponent to have a rear guard, and it can restand easily. Broken. And the number one Legion back then, and the best Legion that they could possibly use right now, actually. True Ultimate Dimensional Robo, Great Daikaiser! Now, if you guys don't know what this card does, this card basically is another guard break, but this card actually does more. So back then, during Legion format, this card was broken, and this card is still broken right now, just the fact that Dimensional Robos are getting more support, boosting up their Vanguards by double the amount of numbers, giving them Vanguards plus 10, giving them Vanguards plus 20, stuff like that. And back then the broken combo was you have Daikaiser, you break ride, Legion, you get ultimate, you get the ultimate Daisha, and ultimate Daisha's effect also stacks with his effect. So when this card will attack, it will be I think 31 or 36, or I think 41, 46, with triple crit and 2 guard breaks. Because this card already gets one guard break, but with Daikaiser it got double guard break. So if you draw check 1 grade 3, guard break 2 guards in your opponent's guardian circle. Broken. One of the best cards I've ever seen in the game, and D-Police has it. D-Police goddamn has it. Nowadays, you could probably see this Legion come back, just for the fact that in the upcoming set, the Star Vader booster set is coming out. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see this card in play, no matter what. Just the fact that it's a Legion, and it's really busted, because it's an easy guard break to achieve. Like I said, I could be wrong, could be right, but if I'm wrong, please comment down below and let me know why. But at the moment, I think Metalborg and the Bermuda Triangle Legion is number 5. Number 4 is Phantom Blaster Abyss. One of the best recent Vanguards we had back then and was used till we had Lured. Then Thinksaver, one of the best, almost consistent recent Vanguards we had. 3 drop checks in 1 turn, broken. Then we had the Great, one of the best consistent recent Vanguards we ever had, just by your opponent having a rear guard. And number 1, we have True Ultimate Dimensional Robo Great Daikaiser. It's number 1. Dan Meme Kim, I'm pretty sure you're enjoying that right now. But yes, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you guys want to see more King Ring segment, please hit that like button, or comment down below saying you want more King Ring segment. If you guys want to see a King Ring segment of certain cards, of I don't know, of different archetypes or whatever, please comment down below what you guys think the next King Ring segment should be, and maybe I might do it. And then if I do take your idea, I'm definitely gonna give you a shout out. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Remember, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. Team Greylock, Henry Rico, out. Deuces.